My next guest is going to be taking on Jeromy Mitchell this Saturday at Showcase MMA 17. It is Stephen New joining me here on the program for the very first time. Stephen, how's it going?
That's going pretty good, man.
Good to hear. Where did this journey start for you? How did you get involved in combat sports?
It actually started, when I was 18, so that was 13 years ago almost. And a couple of my buddies who did Taekwondo, one of them, and the other one, he was a street fighter. You know, he was undefeated in street fights. And there was a local show coming close to home. And I wrestled in high school. I was an all-state wrestler, so they asked me if I wanted to fight. Because that was the Matt Hughes era, you know. Oh, man, Matt Hughes is dominating with wrestling. So I went out there and tried, and I got destroyed in 43 seconds, and that's where it began.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I've heard stories like that before where it's like, you know, you wanted to stick with it, right, because of a setback. Like in your case, you're talking about it there. At what moment did you know that this was going to be like a career? Because it's one thing to train and do it on the side, but then to, you know, say I want to actually take a run at this as a professional. When did that moment happen?
It was definitely, you know, a couple years later. I had a bad record as an amateur. I was 4-5. I took a fight on short notice against a guy who was 8-1 for a title fight. I took it on like a 2 weeks notice. I won that fight, and getting that first amateur belt, it was just, okay, this is addictive. Let's see where it can go. And I actually went on a 6-fight win streak, and I was like, okay, I want to see how far I can take this.
Did you have any like influences? Like obviously you talked about your buddies and everything, but like in the UFC, was there any fighters you liked watching? Like was it a Matt Hughes, or was there someone like in particular that really sort of influenced you in your career?
The old school Diego Sanchez.
Nice.
I remember, season 1. I still like him. Still a fan. I'm pulling for him in his upcoming fights. But he used to just be a killer. He just went out there and imposed his will.
Good stuff, man. Along with fighting, what else do you do for work? What's paying the bills for you right now?
Currently, I just hold a job at Walmart and distribution center. Go
Nice.
there and work my 40 hours.
Good for you. Are they pretty good about training and all that stuff, you know, with having to do everything on the side?
Well, thankfully, my schedule, I only work 3 days a week. I work
cool.
long days. I work 12 to 13-hour days. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'm typically pretty tired. After work, I'll go hit cardio or something, but that gives me Tuesday through Friday to hit 2 or 3 sessions a day if I need to.
Interesting. Let's talk about your opponent here, Jeromy Mitchell, undefeated. That always looks nice, getting to fight a guy you could potentially hand their first L. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him?
I mean, I don't know too terrible much about him. He seems like a nice guy, well-spoken. You know, he hasn't said anything negative to motivate me, which old me probably would have been hard, but now, you know, I don't need that motivation. I enjoy the sport. I'm driven to be a better me, but, you know, like you said, he's 3-0. He holds a professional title in a different organization. So, I mean, I think he's worthy.
Well, what about the experience in this fight, right? Because you've got 10 fights. He's only got 3. I know there's amateur fights in there as well, but really pro fights do mean a lot. Do you feel like that will pay dividends in the matchup?
Yes, I do. I mean, rounds 1 and 2, I don't know if it'll make much of a difference. But then, you know, round 3, and we're scheduled for 5. So if it ends up going 25 minutes, I think later the fight goes, the more I'm going to have, you know, because I've been in there longer. I don't think he's even had a pro fight go, you know, past 10 minutes. So, which I've not had a pro fight go past 10 minutes, but still I've had all the experience.
Well, yeah, you guys are smart. You don't get paid by the hour, right? If you did, then go the 5 minutes. Otherwise, you might as well get in and get out, right? It makes more sense.
Yeah, it looks good on paper. Hey, I made a couple $100 in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. You can go back to your job at Walmart and be like, hey, look at all the work I did here in such a short period of time. Maybe get a raise there. No, I'm kidding. Where are you training right now, and who are some of your main training partners?
I train at Team Locks and Randall Austin. I'm getting a lot of work in with him. And there's a couple other guys. Him and Chance up there. They're probably my main 2. And then I go to Tri-Cities Boxing and work on some of my striking with Brad Austin and Dale Dodds over there.
And I imagine the weight's going well. You seem like you're in a pretty good mood. I imagine the cut's going good.
Yeah, I'm way ahead of schedule. I've never been this light for a 145 fight. a 155 fight even, I've not been this close. The last 2 weeks, I've been upping my meals just because I'm so close to weight already.
Good. Well, anything different for this camp as far as the being lighter?
Yeah. My fiance, she loves to cook. And she cooks
there's the
well.
secret weapon. It finally gets revealed here. There you go.
Her, well, for Valentine's Day, I started this camp back in January. Valentine's Day, I was on a diet, but we had a cheat meal. Our cheat meal was sushi, and it's not awful.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she's very good at cooking clean, chicken, rice, avocados. I would eat, grilled chicken before, but now, she's adding in extra stuff, egg whites, just making the food taste better, and it's being healthy. So I'm not every now and then, every 2 days I'm cheating and grabbing a little Debbie or something. I'm getting full and it's off healthy food. So
good to hear, man. That's awesome. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Casey, Randall, Austin, and then Del Dodd's going to be my third.
And how do you see this fight playing out on Saturday? Obviously, feel like you're going to get your hand raised, but how do you envision the fight playing out?
It's not going to be a quick fight, that's for sure. I see us going past round one. Round two, I think we're going to kind of fill each other out round one a lot, touch each other a little bit, and then round two, I'll make the adjustments needed, and I plan to catch him or make him take a desperate shot and hurt him, and then maybe round three finish him.
Where does a win put you in the grand scheme of things? 8-3, that's a pretty damn good record. That's the type of record that's going to get you picked up by those bigger promotions. Do you feel like this is the one that, especially if you get a finisher, that could get you to that next level?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to finish Jeromy in round three because he's weak or anything. I'm saying that because that's what I feel like I need to do. I need to finish him. I need to prove that I'm above the local show, so say, and I want a shot at a bigger opportunity, whether it be UFC's Contender Series or Bellator, PFL, even any of them. I'm ready to move on to a bigger show.
Downtime. I know you don't get much of it. We talked about it there. You got the 3 days a week, and then you're training and all that stuff. What are you doing? Are you a Netflix guy? You watching other sports? You playing video games? What do you do when downtime comes around? When it's very often or unoften?
Every now and then, I've been watching The Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, awesome!
Season 1, Season 2. I'm on Season 3. But my biggest thing is Clash of Clans. I burn it up.
Oh yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got me and my clan, and I'm maxed out Town Hall in the game. Can't go any higher right now till they upgrade some stuff. So
good for you, man. That's it's nice to have like a nice hobby like that on the side to sort of keep you occupied. But back to Tough though, because I loved Tough when I was growing up. Like that was actually what got me into watching the sport and covering the sport was season 1. Love season 1. What's your favorite season? Is it season 1 or is there another one that comes?
Yeah, season 1. Just because like I said, Diego Sanchez was one of my favorite fighters. Still, and it was.
Yeah, it was great. Sorry to interrupt you there, but the thing I loved about that season is that like that was back before there was like LFA and all these other regional promotions. So like you really didn't know who the best guys were, and so the talent on that show was unreal. Like we're talking Diego Sanchez, Josh Koscheck, Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner. Like the amount of fighters that would go on to be sort of mainstays in the UFC is pretty incredible. So that's why I liked it too, because it was just cool to see it from the start. And it was different, right? Because they had the competitions. Remember, Willa Ford was the host, and they were having to like carry logs on the beach and all that stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. That was made it so much fun, watching them. And then the guys would try to strategize and lose the competition to pick a fight, and then they change it and say, no, the winner gets to pick now. And
yeah, they had to change the rules because remember, I think it was like Mike Swick didn't fight till like the semifinals because it was just like who gets eliminated first, right? And meanwhile, there's a couple guys that had to fight like a couple times when they might have not had to, right? It was a weird thing back then, but it almost made it more interesting to some degree as well, right? So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It made it more of like a reality show back then, and instead of the UFC, but it was definitely entertaining.
Would you ever do The Ultimate Fighter? You think?
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
That was actually, that was one of my goals when I first started fighting, and I wanted to go pro. Was I want to go into the house. I want to be on the Ultimate Fighter show. But currently the upcoming season, I'm not making 135.
Right.
And not consistently. I don't think I ever could. And I'm walking around under 155 right now. I don't think I should fight at 185.
No, especially when you got to fight that often, right? A lot of the fighters usually do fight up a weight class when they're on there because of the weight cut, right? So.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it, to be honest, because, like, I mean, I know now they're kind of like, I'm not even sure what's going on with it. We heard the coaches were going to be announced. Now they haven't even made them. But I think it's going to be tough because how do you do Contender Series and the Ultimate Fighter, right? You got to take, like, you got to leave something left over if they're going to do Contender Series fights every week. And then you got this show, like, either you're not going to get the best guys on the show or you're going to get really weak Contender Series cards. Like, I don't know how they're going to work that out. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, I did see one episode of the Contender Series where one of the guys who won, Dana didn't think he was ready for the UFC, so
they put him on Ultimate. Good point. Yeah, maybe there's a situation like that. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I can't wait for this fight. March 27th, Showcase MMA 17. Steven, thanks so much for the time, man. I know you're super busy. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, I'll give you the last word.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank everybody for the support, buying tickets. You can follow me on Showtime Steven at Instagram. I want to give a big shout out to all season lawn and more up here where I live. You know, they've helped me out a ton for this camp, helping me out with some medicals and everything like that. And then all my training partners.